Welcome back to the Chelsweets kitchen. Today we're making a really great cake in collaboration with Cosmo, and it's going to be a rosé gold cake. So it's kind of like a play on rose gold, but we're also going to be incorporating some rosé and covering the cake in edible gold leaf. So it's going to be a really luxurious cake and a lot of fun to make. So I have here my very favorite vanilla layer cake recipe, and I have omitted half a cup of buttermilk, and I'm going to swap it with a half a cup of rosé. I'm then also going to add just a couple drops of pink gel food coloring to really give it a beautiful light pink hue. So once we have both of those items mixed in, we're going to go ahead and get it divided evenly into our cake pans, and we're using 4-inch cake pans and 6-inch cake pans, and we're going to be making a 2-tiered cake. So this is going to be really tall and really fun to make. So first I'm going to go ahead and get going on our batter, and then we can start going on the assembly. So now we're just going to add a couple drops of gel food coloring. There's one, and there's two. So it seemed really bright at first, but as you can see, the more we mix, it really is mellowing out into a beautiful, delicate pink. So now that our batter is all ready to go, we're going to divide it into our cake pans and bake at 350 degrees. Now that our cake layers are fully baked and chilled, we're going to go ahead and level these using a serrated knife. So I'm just going to go ahead and very slowly pull back and forth with my serrated knife across the top of each cake to get rid of this little zone. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process with my remaining cake layers and then clean up all of our crumbs and get stacking. So now that our layers are all nice and level, I'm going to begin to make my top tier. So I've taken a cardboard round and I've cut it out to match the size of my smallest cake layers, and I've taped it to a larger base so that way we can separate it later when we need to add it to our bottom tier, but that way it will stay in place as we frost. So using a small offset spatula, I'm going to go ahead and place some buttercream on our cake base so that we can secure our cake layer to it. And I know that it looks like there's a lot of overhang here, but we're going to add a lot of extra frosting to the sides of this, so that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead now and add some buttercream. And we don't need a ton between each layer, but we do want a nice even layer. So I'm going to go ahead and frost this. We're going to repeat the process and then add on our third cake layer. So just like always, I'm going to flip my top layer upside down. And then we're going to go ahead and add quite a bit of frosting to the top of this and frost our way down. So I'm very gently smoothing the frosting around the cake here, and we're just going to keep working our way down using a little bit more frosting. And this part just takes some patience. You don't want to push too hard because you don't want to throw off the alignment of your layers, but you do want to press firmly enough that the frosting is attaching to your cake layers. So you need to have a gentle touch. So we're going to apply 2 layers of frosting, and this is just going to be our first layer, which is going to be thin, and it's just going to trap in any crumbs that sometimes get loosened from the cake layers when we're frosting. And now to make sure that we really have a smooth crumb coat, I'm going to use my bench scraper, and I'm going to go ahead and just smooth out very softly because again, we don't want to move these layers. Just want to get it smooth. So now that our sides are smooth, we're going to use the same technique that we always use where we gently pull towards the center of the cake. We're going to be really careful because this is such a small tier. So now that our crumb coat is nice and smooth, we're going to go ahead and pop this into the freezer for about 5 minutes until the frosting is firm to the touch. So now that our crumb coat is firm to the touch, we're going to apply a very generous second layer of buttercream. So we're going to use the same technique as before, where we're going to start at the top and we're going to work our way down. We're going to be very delicate with this again because we don't want to topple over our cake. So we're just going to gently work this down. So now that our cake is fully smoothed, it's time to apply our edible gold leaf. So this is 23 karat edible gold, and it comes in a notebook that has individual sheets of gold. So I ordered mine on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure you can find it at most cake decorating stores as well. So I have placed my cake in the freezer so it's cold to the touch, but it's going to have a little bit of condensation on it, and that's going to help the gold leaf stick to it. So the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and get your piece of gold leaf where you want it to place it, and then to just go ahead and very gently apply it to the cake. So it's very temperamental, so you want to be very delicate as you do this. And then you can just press it down using that piece of paper. And once it's clinging to the cake, you can use a paintbrush and go ahead and just seal down any flyaways. And we're not going to worry about having a perfect top because we are going to be covering this in ganache. So now that our top tier is fully covered in gold leaf, we're going to go ahead and just cover our second tier with gold. We're now going to add our darker pink ganache onto our bottom tier. We'll do a test strip just to make sure the temperature is right. That looks pretty good. So we're going to go around now and do the whole cake. So we're going to make some drips of different lengths. And again, if you guys want to see a full tutorial on how to add drips to a cake, you can check out my Baking Basics playlist. So now we're just going to fill in around the top. And we don't have to fill in completely, but we want to fill in a little bit because we still have to add our top tier to that cake. So now I'm just going to go ahead and loosen this cake layer that we made from our cake base here. So now we're going to go ahead and fill in any of the space between the top tier and the bottom tier with some of our ganache. And just like that, our rosé gold cake is complete. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the like and subscribe button below. To see the recipe for this cake, you can go to Chelsweets.com, and if you want to see more of my cake creations, you can also follow me on Instagram at Chelsweets.